Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 56 of the All in Football Fantasy Premier League Show podcast. I am your host, the self-proclaimed FPL guru, Alex Rex. And joining me today are my usual suspects of Barry Stokes and Scott Williams. Barry, how are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
Good, excellent. Scotty, how are you doing? Can't see you. Your camera's terrible. What's going on?
Yeah, you can't see me because I'm still distraught over my decisions to bench Martinelli and Zinchenko this week. So, yeah, no, we're having some technical issues. So I'm here, but I'm not on camera.
Let's not talk about benching and also points that should be awarded but aren't awarded for good old Solly March, who has now been awarded the goal but doesn't get the FPL points because it's past the 1 hour after the game's finished. So. Historically, they actually did add points on later as well. I know they did it with like an assist with like Rooney about 2 days after, like about 6 years ago. So, but it's obviously the FPL rules. So
the game route's not finished, so might as well.
This is what's a bit weird. I kind of get it when the game week's finished, but Brighton didn't play tonight. But that does bring me to a very important point. So we are recording tonight on a Wednesday, and we are recording before the final matches of the game week are going to take place for game week 27. So this all we're going to say to you today is pending anything that happens in that. But we were going to wait until Thursday to record, but then the deadline's Friday. We wanted to give you guys a chance to listen to it, and hopefully nothing too major is going to happen tonight. So famous last words. So tonight we're just going to get straight into it. Let's talk about game week 28, and let's talk about free hit teams, and let's talk about because some people will be considering free hits. Some people are considering wildcards this week as well. Yeah, there's Barry considering his wildcard. And other people will be talking about what transfers they're going to make this week that will also help them and benefit them in the longer term. So we're going to cover off those three aspects of the game in general. So let's start off first of all with the free hit team. So I'm going to now go to the fixtures. So we'll do manager of the week next week for this week, just so you know, everyone, because I know that's normally how we start, and people love a routine and might throw everyone off. So yes, Brighton Palace tonight, and then Southampton are at home to Brentford. So game week 28, we have got 7 fixtures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 7 fixtures. There's me counting. 14 teams are playing. So it starts with Forest at home to Newcastle. Then it's Villa at home to Bournemouth, Brentford at home to Leicester, Southampton at home to Spurs, Wolves at home to Leeds, Chelsea at home to Everton, and then Arsenal at home to Palace. So to summarise, Forest at home are decent. Newcastle away are decent. So that's quite a difficult one. Bournemouth away are pretty terrible. Brentford at home are great. Southampton at home are the worst team in the league at home. They've got the worst record at home. Wolves and Leeds, who knows what's going to happen in that game, really. Chelsea at home to Everton. Everton away are terrible. And then Crystal Palace away are terrible. Arsenal at home are good. So the initial take on this is Forest Newcastle is an interesting game. 8 o'clock kickoff on the Friday. So the deadline's 6:30 on the greatest day of the year, which is March the 17th. Don't know why. Might be someone's birthday.
It's St. Patrick's birthday, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Ireland's birthday. Yeah, not St. Alex's Day at all. So Newcastle away. One of my first tips is not to overinvest in Newcastle because Forest at home are a bit of a different animal. What do we think of that game? What do we think of Forest assets? Are we going to even look at those guys realistically? And then Newcastle assets, Baz. What do you think about those guys for a free hit?
I think Newcastle. I think Miggy Amaron. If I think his bike scored, looked really good. Got good bonus points when he came on as well. They're scoring goals again now. So Newcastle, yeah, I'd definitely be looking at some of them. Isaac has got the nod over Wilson as well, so it could be a good differential, that one.
Yeah. Good
Forest wise, no. I know they're good at home, but Newcastle are a good team, aren't they? And I think, they beat Liverpool and all that, but Liverpool are woeful, aren't they? So we'll leave it as that.
Yeah, except for the one game they showed up. where they destroyed us. But 17 goals Forest have scored at home in 13 matches, 5 wins, 5 draws, 3 losses, and 15 goals conceded. So they're relatively tight at home, averaging 1 goal a game conceded and just over 1 goal a game scored. Where you look at Newcastle, they've only conceded 9 goals on the road this season in 12 matches, and they've scored 16 goals. So it sort of signals quite a tight game.
Yeah. When I first looked at it, I was thinking it's either a 0-0 or a 1-0. Either way, it's one of them because Forest are good at home and Newcastle form's not been too good.
Mm-hmm.
But like I say, if I had to pick one or two players, it would probably be Isaac and Almiron, and obviously Trips because everyone's got Trips.
Yeah. Scott, what do you think on Newcastle assets? Would you look at double defence? I think that's another question I need to ask.
I think you could definitely look at double defence. Funny enough, this week I'll go for a bit of a different approach. I agree with everything Baz has just said.
Good start, lads. Good start.
First.
I think Trippier as well. He looked really good. His delivery looks absolutely on it at the weekend. And he's still got 5 points. He got a booking and they conceded. So obviously got the assist. Some of them balls he could have had 2 or 3. So I think definitely keep Trippier in. I'm looking at the Forest sort of options. You don't fancy them really defensively. I don't think you'd go for any of them. You'd look elsewhere for that. Therefore, you're looking at the attack. You look at Johnson. He's not going to play. He's injured. He's got a groin injury. Then you're looking at form wives. Morgan Gibbs-White's your next sort of one on there. But even him, 2-4, 2-5, 2-3, 2. You've got to go all the way back to Leicester, 10 game weeks ago where he got a 10-point haul. So, yeah, I don't think you're going to be looking too good for Forest assets. You've got Chris Woods out, Johnson's out. Obviously, Woods can't play against his parent club. So their attacking assets are, a lot of them are ineligible as well. So what are they going to have going forward? I think I wouldn't be surprised if potentially Forest nick that game 1-0, don't get me wrong, but who's going to get that goal is anyone's guess. So I think there's certainly better assets out elsewhere for that. And I love the Isaac shout. He looks really on it. He looked good against Man United in the Carabao Cup final when he came on. And like I say, I think he's got the nod against Wilson, who's really not looked on it since, after the World Cup, to be honest with you.
It's weird, isn't it? Because we've gone from like last season where we're like, we haven't got any strikers, to for example, this free hit week to sort of cover back. In that situation, we've got Isak, Watkins, potentially even a Solanke has done all right, but Isak, Watkins anyway. Let's talk about proper ones. Isak, Watkins, Tony, maybe Iheanacho, Harry Kane, Felix or Havertz, and then if I don't think anyone's fit at Arsenal, but even then I've named 6 players there.
Well, yeah, he's just came on, didn't he?
3 spots. Yeah, so I mean, I don't think any of them will start though, will they, in that game? I wouldn't have thought. So you're looking at these are realistic options as well. And take away your Solanke and your Iheanacho that I've just thrown in there. You've got.
I'd argue Daka's probably over Iheanacho.
or Daka, yeah. But so let's just talk about Isak, Watkins, Tony, Kane, and let's say Havertz. Probably looks like the man you'd go for over Felix. So you've got 5 strikers there. And let's get straight into it. If you're doing a free hit team, which 3 are you picking? I mean, let's pretty obviously put Kane in. So which 2 of the other 4 are you putting in between Watkins, Isak, Havertz, and who was the other one I said? Can't even remember. Tony.
But I mean, Ollie Watkins is not far behind Kane. I don't think at the minute in that aspect of must have for a free hit. Has he scored in his last 6 games? Is it
6 in his last 7? I think it is.
Oh,
yeah. Blanked last week. No.
Yeah, blanked the week before. Yeah, blanked in game week 26, and then got a goal last week 27. So. Yeah, 6 goals in the last 7. I think I completely agree. Kane and Watkins nailed
that fixture as well at home to Bournemouth. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, well, Bournemouth I think are the worst team in the league in away form. They are they're down. Well, I say that they're not the worst team in the league. They're 2 points ahead of West Ham, Leeds, and Forest. So the 17th for away form. So they're crap. So yeah, I completely agree. Who's the third striker? Who'd you
Havertz.
Go Havertz? Yeah, they are playing Everton. They've probably got the best fixture. Scott, what would you say?
I would stick Tony on still. If I'm honest with you, I think he's still, of course he did nothing on the weekend because we all captained him. But I think he's still on better form than Havertz or Felix. I think it's very close. I think it's very, very close.
It's one of the biggest decisions on a free hit this week, isn't it? Really, because you also know that that's where your differential's gonna be.
And plus, if you're looking at wildcard as well, Chelsea and Brentford's fixtures going forward are quite good as well.
Is Baz jumping the gun? Yes. They. No, I'm sorry, but you are right. You're absolutely right. So we'll touch on that now. You've mentioned it. Chelsea in particular. They've got Everton at home. Then they've got 2 home games in double game week 29, Villa and Liverpool. Then they face Wolves and Brighton. Then if you have got your free hit left, for an example, then it's game week 32. The Man United game is pretty highly likely to be cancelled. Depends if United beat Fulham in the FA Cup. If that's then cancelled, then you'd use your free hit in 32. They've got Brentford at home in 33. Then they would double in 34. Almost certainly. If not, then it's going to be a double game week in game week 37. They'll play Arsenal, Bournemouth, Forest, then double in 37 and Newcastle at the end of the season. Over those last 3 fixtures are City, Man United and Newcastle, which aren't exactly the easier. But their fixtures are good, Chelsea's, moving forward. So I completely agree. Brentford's as well, for podcast listeners. Leicester at home, then they've got double game week away at Brighton and away at Man United. So that is tough. Then they've got Newcastle at home. So they're not the easiest 3 fixtures, those. Then Wolves, Villa, Chelsea. Forest at home, Liverpool, West Ham, and Spurs and Man City. So they don't finish off the season that well from 35 through 38. They've probably only got 1 good fixture in there, but the fixtures are good up until probably the finish of game week 34.
I might be massively jumping and going segue here, Alex.
Go on.
No, you carry on. I'll ask you this later.
No, I've just covered the point Baz has made.
Okay,
So
So I know Alex's plan, everyone listening, is to take Haaland out for Watkins this week, and then gamble on him. Obviously, Man City are playing Liverpool. Thoughts on that after last night?
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's almost like he's the most transferred out player in FPL this week.
People are regretting that.
And then he's banged 5. I don't think so. I mean, I'm going to say I'm still going to do it. He blanks in 28, so he's not got no fixture, and he's got 1 game in 29. I think Ollie Watkins over 3 fixtures, because the big thing for me as well is if I don't transfer Haaland out, I'll only have 10 players playing. So I think Ollie Watkins in Bournemouth at home and Chelsea away, Leicester away will outscore Haaland in just Liverpool at home. So that's my decision. So I know, famous last words. I've been wrong about everything this year, pretty much, that Haaland's done. No, I've just been wrong in general, really, about everything. So,
have you got money to get him back then?
Yeah, and also
you not fancy that Watkins at home to Forest, away to Forest.
No, Watkins.
I suppose it's tricky.
No, Watkins at home to Forest. No, I'd keep him. I'd be probably looking to take out Tony at that point.
Okay, yes, right.
Okay. And keep Watkins.
Yeah, he's going to be almost banned probably at that point anyway, isn't he? So.
Well, that's what we were talking about his hearing in April. This is around the time when Tony will probably start his ban, because they'll want it to happen as soon as possible, as Brentford, as we've discussed before. So that'll be around this Newcastle Wolves moment. So yeah, my ideal would be to keep Watkins and also the thing is with Haaland is he's already gone down to 12.1. So it's only 0.3 I'm losing of team value to sell him and get him back.
You say he's blanking this game week coming up. I still think he could return like 10 points somehow.
Yeah, you just never know, do you? I mean, against Liverpool in particular, though, like we're talking properly here. Liverpool at home, like Liverpool are pretty rubbish this year.
It's a scary game for you, that.
Yeah. It'd be a good, because also he's probably going to play 90 in that as well. So, because it's Liverpool. And it's the first game back after the international break. And Norway tends to just have a bit of a jolly in the international break, don't they? So, it'll be pretty fit and fresh.
You never know. Odegaard might leave on him in training or something.
That'd be amazing. But I don't dare in a million years go without him for the Southampton game in game week 30, the Leicester game at home in game week 31. The worst team in the league at home, Southampton, Leicester, who are terrible away from home. Then I'm going to free hit him 32, so not bothered about that. And then he'll play Arsenal in 33, which is obviously a massive game, so he's going to play, so you're not worried about minutes. Then he's going to double in 34, Fulham and West Ham. That's almost certainly going to happen. That's probably when you're going to use your triple captain, Scott, I assume.
Yeah, probably, yeah. I would have thought so.
And then it's going to be Leeds and Everton, 35-36. And then if Man City do blank in game week 32, which they probably will, because when they get through in the FA Cup, then they'll double against Chelsea and Brighton in game week 37. So I'd have Haaland back in for 2 double game weeks and a bunch of good fixtures, because I would be free hitting in the week that he blanks. So he's 100% coming back in a game week 30 unless he gets.
I'm probably going to do the same as you, Alex. I'll join you and hold your hand.
Yeah, game week 29 is going to be squeaky bum time.
Yeah, my wildcard draft is without him as well. So probably all three of us are doing the same.
You're gambling that 1 week without him, and you'd hope Liverpool at home wouldn't be. I mean, to be fair, he got a hat trick and 2 assists against United at home, didn't he? And that's one of those things. But yes, so that is a plan moving forward. To go back to the free hit, Villa assets against Bournemouth. So we're looking at, obviously Watkins is pretty nailed. Would we be looking at any defenders or midfielders from Villa, Baz?
Martinez, Cash, Bundia.
Okay. Would you go Buendia in terms of midfielders is difficult, isn't he? I think just because I think there's a lot of options. But Matty Cash, Buendia has been since the World Cup. He's got 47 points. So he's the second highest point scorer for Villa. So
he's my differential this week anyway. So
okay, so keeping him in.
Keeping him in.
If I take out low minutes and do points per 90, then Watkins, Buendia and Cash, points per 90 are the best since the World Cup. 6.5 for Watkins, 5.1 for Buendia and 5 for Cash. And it's a big drop to McGinn at 4.5 and Leon Bailey at 3.9. So it's pretty clear to me that it's Watkins, Buendia and Cash are the 3 options. Even though in terms of some bonus points and form and also the predicted points from the FPL planner, for which the FPL Hub have a predicted points thing for every single week. Konsa and Mings are actually, and Martinez are all above Cash. But I think that's warped slightly through algorithm.
Yeah, because Cash has been on bench for a few and been injured as well, hasn't he? So
yeah, so for me, I think that's warped really in terms of numbers.
I don't know if Scott's going to touch upon it, but Moreno looked really good when he played you as well. Left back.
He's going to keep it at place 17 here, isn't he? Scott, any further thoughts on Villa before we move on to Bournemouth?
Literally just going to mention Moreno. That was it. Yeah, certainly one to keep an eye out. 8 and 5 in the last 2 game weeks. He's returned, and that's with only 1 clean sheet in there. So yeah, certainly looking good attacking wise, and he's pretty decent on FIFA. So that's usually how I get a good gauge of someone.
To be fair, again, bonus points is for wing backs, like we've always talked about on this podcast. He's going to be right up there. So yeah, in terms of form, he's 4th on the list for Villa. Bournemouth wise, I mean, would be a bit silly not to talk about Philip Billing, only because he has returned in the last 2 games 10 points, both at home. No, both at home. It was away to Arsenal. 10 points against Arsenal, 10 points against Liverpool, so 2 goals. He did this a little bit earlier in the season, and he got 3 goals in 4 games. They were against Forest, Newcastle, then Brentford, and then Leicester. So he has been through. He goes through little purple patches.
Yeah, but he's returned 10 and 10 against Arsenal and Liverpool. It's not bad, is it?
Exactly. Yeah.
5.1 million as a midfielder. I'd be definitely tempted to have him probably as a 5th midfielder if with the budget allowed.
Yeah, I think again the eye test though, he looked really good. It wasn't just that like sort of one goal that he had. He was sniffing around.
Gets in box a lot, doesn't he? Box to box.
He does. He's always sort of on that edge, looking for that cross in, and he looks. He's a bit of a beast of a human, isn't he? So he's always sort of up there, challenging for headers and stuff. So yeah, he's a decent little differential.
I was just trying to look for Villa's. It's just really confusing on this sometimes. So
another one whilst you're looking through that. Sorry,
no,
that Dando Utara.
Yeah, Utara.
He passed the eye test for me. He caused all sorts of problems. So, and that's also for Arsenal and Liverpool game. He looked like he was very direct winger, putting crosses in for Billing. So, and Solanke. So, yeah.
They've only conceded one in their last 3 games, Villa, because I think they had a bit of a reputation of being a bit leaky because they conceded a lot against Leicester, Liverpool, and Arsenal. But it feels like they're a little bit tighter at the moment. But
they're in a really weird spot of Villa. I was on to Jimmy, Villa fan, yesterday. It just seemed like they're in their own little league.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And it's like you also don't really know what Villa you're going to get sometimes. But I feel like they're getting a little bit more consistency, a bit like Chelsea, which we'll touch on in a bit. But they just have that consistency. But Utara for predicted points. God, I'm flicking around a lot on screens today for YouTube watchers. Apologise for that. But predicted points of 3.8. He's £5 million midfielder.
He should have scored, right? It was the guy who went around the keeper. Was it? Who went around Alisson?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
should have probably scored that. He was rapid though to get onto that, wasn't he? So
I think he's 0% owned as well. I think.
Is he? I've not seen that.
I think he is.
Have a look. Utara. Yeah, no one owns him.
Wow.
Let's have a look. It sometimes tells you exactly. Team selected by 240. Yeah, so he's owned by less than 0.05% of the game. Pretty crazy differential that. Yeah, I think that game could be quite an interesting one. Really, could go in either way. So yes, we've covered the Villa assets and potential for Bournemouth ones. Like I say, Solanke's just never going to get any team over the other options up front anyway. Brentford and Leicester. Brentford just I found them just weird. Like then they go to Everton, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the grey one was a handball, wasn't it? But it could have been 2-0 down before half time, couldn't they? And they were 1-0 down after a minute, which was a real shame. Did you know that David Raya was on for bonus points still? But he when he put that header wide of the goal, he got negative BPS, which took him 1 BPS point below bonus points. So for all you Raya owners, I've as well, that he went up for a corner and headed the ball wide and lost his bonus point.
Yeah, with 50 pence head, wasn't it?
It was so funny. Because I've got him as well, Scott. And I was like, no, God, as if that's actually the reason why he's not going to bonus. Brentford, Baz, anyone here that you were putting a free hit team with this Leicester game? I'm talking about free hit here, specifically. Like, anything you would, any other players you'd consider?
Raya and Tony.
Right. And to be honest, I won't consider Raya for a free hit either. Like, I'd consider Tony in a free hit, and that's it. I think you've just got better keeper options. So, Scott, Brentford free hit options. Any others? Anything?
No.
Cool. Leicester City. Not the other Leicester, obviously. Would you consider the most frustrating player in FPL right now, James Maddison?
Oh, geez, don't get me talking about it. It's not James Maddison that's frustrating. It's all the donkeys that play with him on the pitch. Like, he puts on a plate for him and they decide to just miss it every time. Who was it? Someone backstage just missed an absolute.
Amati.
That's it.
He just needed to hit him. He just needed to hit him. Daniel Amati.
Yeah, of course. Not Thomas
Partey.
What an idiot. Yeah, James Maddison's doing well, but he just needs to get his move to Arsenal, really, doesn't he? Yeah, I mean, I would, because every time on Soccer Saturday at the weekend we went to him, it was James Maddison this, James Maddison that. But yeah, need someone to start scoring on the end of these crosses, really. I think he hit the bar the other week, so he is sniffing, but yeah, not too many other options for me other than Maddison, if I'm honest. Tete looked all right, but then got dropped, didn't he? Yeah, I wouldn't. They're a bit leaky at the back.
Yeah, there's no defenders you're going to go for. Is it 2, 0, 1 and 2 in his last 4? After he got 7 and 11 before that, you just know he's got it. And like in terms of his XG in those games, like he was only slightly less in the Chelsea game than he was in the Villa game when he did score, like 0.01. That's literally all he was less. And like in terms of assists, he got an assist in the Spurs game with an expected assist of 0.09. And like in the Southampton game, he had an expected assist of 0.85. He nearly had like an expected assist of 1. It didn't happen. It's just he's one of those
troll.
Yeah, he's one of those players. I think if I was going to say Brentford at home against Leicester, I probably wouldn't go for him on a free hit. But in terms of if you're looking at a player to bring in for a longer term transfer, Brentford, then Palace and Villa in a double game week. Palace away, Villa at home is very good. Then Bournemouth at home. They have got City away in 31, which is a tough game. Then they've got Wolves, Leeds, Everton and Fulham before they finish off the season against Liverpool, Newcastle and West Ham. So Leicester have got a good run of fixtures, bar that City away in game week 31. So if you're looking for somebody a bit longer term, fine. I don't know if you need to see something from him before, but you know what Madders is like. You know what he's like. He can go off in any game. So just needs someone to actually put the ball in the back of the net, doesn't he?
He does.
Southampton against Spurs should be a. What do we make of Southampton under the new boss? Because if we look on the form table, last 4 games, win, loss, win, draw. But 2 losses before, and I think that's kind of when he took over. Is that? They've done 4 games? 4 games, something like that.
Yeah, something like that,
yeah.
So they've only scored 3 goals in that time, but they have only conceded 6 in the last 6, and they lost. And I think they conceded. It was they beat Chelsea 1-0, didn't they? And then they lost to Leeds 1-0.
Yeah.
And then they beat Leicester 1-0, and then they drew with Man U 0-0. So everyone's kind of piling. I've seen so many drafts this week of free hits with Son in. Now, I think, don't get me wrong, Kane should be in your draft. I mean, Southampton at home, Southampton away, sorry, I should say. That, Kane's in incredible form this season. But would you consider any other Spurs attackers, lads, in this game?
Richarlison should score at some point anyway.
He got 2 assists in FPL, didn't he, last week as well? He got a goal disallowed. He looked good.
I mean, I think you've got to consider him, haven't you, for a free hit week? He's going to score at some point.
You forget he's a forward, don't you?
Yeah, that's the only thing. Obviously, I don't think I'd bring him in though as a forward ahead of Kane, Tony, and Watkins for a free hit.
Yeah,
if he was a midfielder, I would.
Yeah, same with like Brennan Johnson. I know he's injured, but he should be more of a midfielder than a forward in my eyes. And same with Bremo for Brentford.
And anything in a podcast for Baz to mention Brennan Johnson because he's Welsh and anyone related to Kinder Buenos, he likes to get into the podcast every week.
Yeah, but there's no. Even more, he should be starting more, shouldn't he?
What a hero!
Yeah,
Spurs.
Get Son in, stuff it. I said I got a good feeling about him, didn't I? So I think he's going to be back. Got a good run of games coming in. I know it's a wild card, but yeah, get him in. Why not?
Yeah, he did well. He got 9 points, didn't he? Yeah.
He let's stop it. He's got 2 in his last 4. So he's not that bad. And in terms of minutes played, he's only started the last 2 in that. So he's actually only played probably minutes worth of 2 full games there, just over. He's got 2 goals. Yeah,
I think you'll have money for a Son, wouldn't you? So I think for someone to go for it's not even that much of a punt. Looking at them sort of last 4 games, not bad, is it? So yeah, I'd bat Son.
We had an XG of 0.4 in 22 minutes against West Ham, 0.2 against Wolves in 19, 0.5, and an expected assist of 0.4 again the Forest game. So without a doubt, Son's an option. In terms of their form, they are third in the form table in the last 6 as well, with 4 wins and 2 losses. But they're just a weird team. Like they lost 1-0 to Wolves and 4-1 to Leicester. Just what couple of weird games to lose. Can you imagine if Spurs weren't Spursy? Like they just lose like weird games, don't they?
The problem is Conte done differential from his team. He plays the same formation. He just changes the personnel. So if you're setting up, you know exactly how they're going to set up. So you've got all week to prepare for him to play. It's so weird. He hasn't got plan B.
They looked so poor as well against Milan, didn't they?
Yeah, I didn't watch that one, but I did hear
really bad. Really bad. Yeah.
Plus, you got to look at Porro maybe for a free hit.
Saucy.
Yeah, well, I was thinking in terms of defenders, looking at the amount of goals that Southampton are scoring, which is pretty minimal. In terms of defenders, we have to look at the options for Spurs. So Dyer, Davis, they seem to be playing at the back. Romero plays, a bit of a walking card there, Romero, isn't he? And then has Pedro Porro's been playing? Has Perisic been playing recently?
No, I've got him in draft. He hasn't really. He's been in and out. He plays a game, doesn't play a game. Kind of, yeah.
Started 1 in the last 4.
It was like that at the start of the season, wasn't it?
Thing is with Perisic as well, what is quite good though, he gets subbed at like the 70th minute. So you know if you're sweating a clean sheet, he does get subbed all the time in like the 70th minute. There we go. Look, he's played like 3 90-minute games. So
yeah,
that's long late. That's long late. I thought he just really proved me wrong there.
No. You're totally right, Scott, in terms of what you said about Perisic. I'll get Perisic.
Yeah, Perisic.
Oh, there we go. 90th minute.
He's only completed 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It's 3 times since the World Cup.
Yeah, okay then.
So right. You're right about that. Don't worry. I'm not trying to troll you with my stats on the screen. But yeah, Longley's been playing. Davis, Dyer. Any in terms of form, Eric Dyer and Davis are on the same. Dyer didn't play against Wolves. A bit random. Was he injured? Was he ill?
And didn't select him for some strange reason.
Ben Davis is pretty much was featured in every game since the World Cup, and he started every game since game week 20. So again, maybe Ben Davis, someone to consider.
New vice captain of Wales, yeah.
No, okay, we'll get the Wales in. Get the Wales in.
Congratulations. Who's the captain?
Aaron Ramsey.
Is he still playing? I thought he retired.
Yeah, he's on a Zimmer frame now, though, isn't he?
It's not the other Aaron Ramsey that plays in the Championship, is it?
No, it's not that one.
In terms of bonus points, so Eric Dyer with 4 and Davis has got 3 since the World Cup. So Dyer seems to be just slightly higher in terms of the BPS as well. Must be maybe getting the ball to his feet a little bit more. I don't know, but Dyer and Davis, you can put one of these players in. I think you'd be doing it more for a clean sheet than anything else, obviously. But Porro's the guy who you can gamble. I think was Royale still. Is he poorly or is he injured? I can't remember what it was, but something's not right with him, is it? But for Spurs, gamble on Son, but I think Kane and maybe a defender seems to make sense. And I think relatively obviously Fraser Forster in terms of your second keeper, 3.9 mil, the most easy person to put on your bench in the world. You could even start him if you wanted to, but I do feel like there might be a Kepa down here or someone like that that's probably going to be the option in terms of free hit. One of the interesting games, because I think in these matches, right, we can piece them, but Wolves Leeds, like, what do we think is going to happen? Score predictions, like what's going to happen in this match? Like, I don't. Wolves are 5th in the form table, by the way, in the last 6.
Feels like an horrendous game, doesn't it?
And Leeds are 19th. So in form, Wolves should win, right? And they should win quite well.
Wolves are looking really good as well, I think.
Yeah, 8 goals scored in the last 6, 5 conceded. But Leeds have only scored 3, but only conceded 7. Do you think it could be like a 1-0 Wolves?
If I was to predict it, I would have gone 1-0 Wolves.
Yeah,
I'll go for 2-1 Wolves.
Okay, so you wouldn't go for any defenders then in the game?
I'll go for Johnny. Johnny again.
Stop talking about Johnny. You put Bueno in, and he's injured still. But so, where are the goals coming from for Wolves, Baz, do you think?
The wide men. Depends on he keeps changing it week in, week out. So I don't know. Podence looked really well, then Jory came and played really well, and yeah, it just keeps changing week in, week out. So don't know. Don't know regarding that front.
I reckon Jimenez scores the winner in the 74th minute.
Oh, that's nice. That's cool. With a little 1-0. I think we've got to consider, like a Dawson in the team. I feel like I can feel it being like a Neves assist to a Dawson header for a scummy 1-0 win. Yeah. Like something like that. But I think from a free hit perspective, and also from a getting players in your team moving forward perspective, they're kind of a squad both of them are kind of squads to avoid, which is a little bit weird to say that because I know Wolves don't have a double game week in 29. Both your cameras are gone now. I'm talking to myself. Leeds have got a double game week, Arsenal and Forest. Oh, thanks, Scott. But after game week 29, Wolves actually have Chelsea, Brentford, Leicester, Palace. Yeah, so they've not got great fixtures. Don't know what I'm talking about. Leaving alone. It was Leeds who had Palace at home after that, and then they've got Leicester, and then potentially a double game week in 34. But I just don't see any assets from them.
Stay well away from Leeds.
Chelsea, Everton. So we've touched on strikers. So it's Havertz over Felix. Kepa's an option. Reece James is still ill, isn't he? So it's Baz. Who would you pick as a defender for Chelsea?
Tough one.
Chilwell.
Who you've talked about for about 2 months, and he's finally returned. Didn't you bench him?
No, I didn't even had him. I had Reece James. I had Reece James. I was going to wild card, and I had Chilwell. And I had Chilwell in my draft for wild card last week.
That was it.
And I was moaning, going, "Oh God," and all that. And then I ended up, I've got 63 points, and I'm like, I'm not that bad actually. And I thought, so
that's been your season at moan, and then actually I've smashed it.
I turned into Sandeep, and I moaned, and I'm succeeding.
It does feel like you've sort of accidentally did amazing last week.
There's nothing worse than me and Alex having a genuine moan in the group chat, and then you're like, "Oh yeah, I should have got this guy in for 28 points. I only had 26 points with this guy."
It's like really, but yeah, Chelsea a bit weird, really. I think they've kept 3 clean sheets in their last 3 matches, including the Dortmund game.
No, they conceded last game.
They did 3-1. It was 3-1, wasn't it? So but 3-1, so that's good. And then they beat Leeds 1-0. But they were on a bit of a poor run of form. They've won the last 3 games then, which was a couple of good games. Obviously, Leeds is one, but then they've beaten Leicester and then Dortmund and then Leicester. So seem to be looking up a bit for Chelsea. Relatively a bit more settled in terms of lineup. Baz, what have you been thinking other than Chilwell? What do you like? That look of any of the other players that they have?
Kepa, Chilwell, Havertz.
Would you have those 3 in your free hit?
Yeah.
Scott?
Yeah, I would do that. I mean, you can maybe look at Cucurella. I know he hasn't done a lot, but he played 90 minutes last game. So yeah, it's quite tough for Chelsea, isn't it? Seems to be a lot of rotation with the players, but I gotta agree with Chilwell. Get him now. He will be injured in 4 to 6 working days.
He will, and you need to make the most of those points while you can. So you need to get those. But in terms of minutes played, so Havertz, Kepa, and Koulibaly are the only ones that have played every minute. Then Enzo Fernandez 264 out of 270. Chilwell 253 out of 270. So his minutes have been good, have been solid. So yeah, Havertz, Kepa, and Chilwell seem to be right up there. Expected goals last 3 games, Havertz is double everybody else. Sterling 1.1, then it's Chilwell actually third with 0.8. Expected assists, Havertz is top again at 1.1 with Sterling, Loftus-Cheek, Enzo, and then Chilwell again beneath there. So if you're going to go for someone on a free hit, it would be. I think the big decision. I mean, we've obviously reviewed a couple of strikers there, but it kind of is a bit Havertz against Tony, isn't it? For that third position. And then, I completely agree. Chilwell's an absolute lock in your free hit team. You don't have Chilwell in your free hit team. And he also a player you could bring in generally as well, as we've talked about already in terms of fixtures forward planning. Sorry, Baz.
I was about to say about Sterling.
He's injured, isn't he?
Probably is. He's walking injuries at Chelsea. God knows what's happening where medic team must be rushed off their feet. How many players they've got on injuries? So.
He's got a hammy.
That's it.
50%.
So yeah, it's just Mudryk looks good at 6.5, doesn't he? I think he looks like he's just a good player, but he's just not quite settled in yet.
He looks quite cool. It looks like a cool guy, doesn't he? Like tattoos, hair. He's got that kind of swagger. I like his vibe.
I think he gives really good value for money for coolness.
Yeah, he does. His XG of coolness is probably like 3.8 a game.
I'm going to write to FPL Towers and ask them to ask expected coolness.
There's some right losers in the Premier League as well, isn't there?
There really is as well. I'm going to start naming them. That was just going to be mean. Like, why would you ever do that? Everton team, talking about losers. No, Everton team who are playing Chelsea. Would any of us consider any Everton assets, or can we move on relatively quickly?
I think we just swiftly move on.
Yeah, swiftly move on.
Great stuff, thanks. And then Arsenal against Palace. So Arsenal, who have turned into one of the biggest troll teams I think I've ever in the last like 3 game weeks or 4 game weeks or 5 game weeks, with Martinelli and then Trossard and then everyone bringing in Saka, and then FPL then flagged Trossard, and then he played. And then Martin, it's just everything about it. And then Gabriel Jesus is now back. Who the hell do we pick from Arsenal? Talk to me, Barry. You seem to have it down.
That's by luck, not by skill. You could probably pick any of the starting 11.
Thanks.
To be honest. Yeah.
Who's starting?
Brilliant. Thanks, mate. We could pick any of them, the top of the league.
Yeah,
really well.
I'd say if I had to stick my name out, neck out, Zinni, like I've always backed him, as you knew that was coming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Jesus.
Okay.
I'm gambling on that one. But
I don't think he starts.
I don't think he does, but he came on and looked good. So why not?
You can pick any. You can pick any. I love it. You can pick any of the starting 11, but I'm going to pick the guy that's going to be benched.
Why not?
Roll
the dice.
This is Baz doing really well at fantasy, trying to throw some red herrings out there, isn't he?
He's really hoping like Cully starts Jay-Z.
Yeah.
I'm sick of him a draft team. That's all.
In the last, I don't talk about draft me and Trossard. In the last four games, Martinelli's top. This is what I will say. If I was going to do a free hit right now, I'd put 2 Arsenal midfielders in, and I'll put a defender in, and I would go with Martinelli, Trossard, and Gabriel. Those would be my 3 players I'd put. And I understand why people will go for Zinni, because I get it with his expected points, his expected goal involvement. In terms of expected points and expected stats, he's ahead of Gabriel just by 0.7 of a point. But I think Gabriel just offers a goal threat from corners.
Thing is with Gabriel as well, you get a player that plays 90 minutes. Zinchenko never plays 90 minutes. You could probably prove me wrong again.
Here we go. Let's find out.
He's like 70-75. It's 70-75.
Yeah, it's the sweat though, isn't it, for the clean sheet bonus?
Yeah, but like I guess you can look at it. Oh wow, wrong.
Okay. He's
Recently, you're right.
Last 2. Yeah,
the last 2 out of the last 3 he's got subbed off earlier. Before that, he played 90 minutes straight in 6 games.
I think it's maybe to do when Tin is fit as well, because they love like little swap over the last 20.
You've also got to remember that most of these games here were games where they were losing, drawing, losing, but when they're winning, he seems to be taken off early. So now the 4-2 against Villa, they won last minute, basically, didn't they? So he stayed on to 90 for the end there. Leicester was a tight game, a 1-0 win. They won 4-0, played 81 minutes. Then he stayed on last minute for the winner against Bournemouth. So Zinchenko seems to be such a vital player in the Arteta team that if they are winning, he does seem to get taken off. He has been taken off before 60 minutes once this season, 59 minutes against Brighton. But generally, if they're going to beat Palace and they're 2-0 up and it's 75 minutes, he's probably going to come off. So I do know what you mean there in terms of the security clean sheet. But yeah, and any disagreement with me? Would anyone go for Odegaard over Trossard or Martinelli or anything like that in terms of Arsenal assets?
Yeah, I'd go for. I'd disagree quite heavily with you. I'd go for Zinchenko, Martinelli, and Saka because I'm never going to get rid of Saka because I'm waiting for my points he owes me. Quite frankly,
Saka's such a troll.
you can see exactly when we brought him in, can't you?
It's been quite a crazy time for Saka. Like 6-9-6, been 3-12, 2 and 3. Yeah, just his XG was 0 against Fulham, and they won 3-0. Like it was such a weird thing. Like you know what I mean? Like he wasn't a threat in the game. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, fine, Saka, I get it. Baz, you would do Saka over Trossard? Trossard, Saka,
Trossard.
in out, shake it all about Trossard. Palace worth talking about? Probably not. We'll unless anyone wants to discuss Crystal Palace, we'll move swiftly on. No. Cool. Fine.
It's an Eze one to move on from that.
Bless Eze. So in terms of a free hit team, we seem to be in conclusion that it's going to be a Kepa and then a Forster backup. We think we're going to go for Chilwell, Trips, and then Zinni. We would go for as a team together. I think over that. That's what we do with maybe Porro as a backup. We would go for Trossard because it's 2 against 1 on that one. Scotty, Martinelli. Midfielders, we would also look at Son as a gamble because why the hell not? And then who else was it in midfield? Did we think? Were you thinking? You said Almiron. We said Buendia. We said Maddison. We talked about any of the Wolves wingers. But is it a potential to drop Zinni and go 3 Arsenal midfielders?
Well, for this squad we're doing now, we're going to have 4 Spurs players in, so aren't we?
Oh, of course. Oh, Porro's got to go then, hasn't he? Because if we're going Forster, Son, and Kane, yeah, Porro's got to go off the bench then, hasn't he?
Well, you might as well just put Ward in.
Oh yeah, well Ward instead of Forster. Yeah, of course, you're right. That's Ward instead of Forster, and then Porro in for Zinni, and then maybe would you just go for Trossard, Martinelli, and Saka in midfield? I don't know. Like, is that
it's a tough one. I think your midfield is going to be the one, isn't it, this week? I think I would go for Miggy, just because of his face after he scored.
He was staring at the crowd, wasn't he? Loved it. And then we were going to go for Kane, probably Havertz and Watkins as our team. I think that team scores lots of points. So just in case anyone missed all of that waffle, Kepa, Chilwell, Trips, Zinni, Trossard, Martinelli, Son, Almiron, Kane, Havertz and Watkins. We picked our team. And you'll be able to afford that team, I'm sure, especially with how cheap other options are on the bench. We've kind of covered everything everyone wanted to talk about, lads. Really, it's going to be free hits. It's going to be. I just wanted to touch on your wild card, Baz, because that's the other option here. And if someone's already used their free hit this season and they're coming into this game week going, "Oh my God, what do I do?" Wild card is going to be quite a genuine option for them. So, what are your thoughts currently with who you're going to bring in and why, etc.?
Are we going up on screen or
No?
All right. Okay.
You sent me it. Don't have it. That's completely my own fault. Over to you.
So looking obviously Chelsea's fixtures going forward, I'd have Kepa. I'd go for a double Chelsea defence. Kepa and Chilwell. Zinchenko, Trippier, I think they're quite stable. Cash, I'd have in. And the other defender, I'd have Shaw.
Okay.
Midfields, I'd have Almiron, Maddison, Saka, Martinelli and Rashford. And then my backup keeper would be Ward. And then my 3 strikers would be the ones that we mentioned, Kane, Watkins and Havertz.
So in terms of optimal free hit team off, you would be Trossard, Saka, 50-50. and then it would literally be the free hit team we've just mentioned, except Maddison in for Son. Correct?
No enough, yeah.
Yeah, just from circling off from what we've just said then. So if you are looking at a wild card, I think in terms of the structure of what Baz has just talked about there sounds great. How many double game week players for 29 in that?
Don't know. Let me just have a look. Give me a second. I'll have 11.
Okay. With potentially to be able to do a free transfer out to maybe make 12 if you wanted to do a bench boost. And that will be the plan for your wild card, I assume?
Yeah.
I like that. And you still have your free hit left?
I will do.
Lovely. That's a nice position to be in. Scott, any thoughts on that team? Anything to add? Any players you think he's missed glaringly? Anything like that?
No, I think listen to Baz. It's doing really well this season, and making us all very, very proud. Especially Brennan Johnson
and all the Welsh players in the Premier League. Let's go on to differentials of the week then, shall we, boys? So I need to get my phone out here at this point because this is where I write this stuff down. So
how did we do this game with the differentials? Obviously, we've still got some time to go.
Don't talk about Lewis Dunk.
But
Good.
Twos and ones, wasn't it?
It was a Tannoy announcement, was it? Great. That's what we want, isn't it? 1, 2, 1, 2.
It's always good when you explain your joke as well, mate.
Welcome to my entire life. Anyone who's listening to this, who is a friend of mine, knows that is exactly what happens to me all the time. Yes. So differentials, Baz. You've done. Have you done?
I already said mine, didn't I, Brendan?
Scott.
I'm not ready for this. Come back to me.
Well, it's just the thing is, right? Again, so we're talking through this. Chilwell and Havertz are both under 5%, but isn't it just really boring?
Yeah, that's boring. Don't do that.
To go with it, okay.
Raul Jimenez, he'll get you 9 points because he's going to get the free bonus for his 71st minute winner.
Okay, I like that. I will go for Harvey Barnes is 1.6% owned. I'm gonna.
If he returns and Maddison done,
It's kind of one of the reasons I picked him. I just really want him to return, and Maddison doesn't, just for that. Yeah, why not? I've tried to go for someone a little bit different. It's just because there actually are quite a lot of good differential options this week. I said Buendia is like 0.7%, which is pretty ridiculous. Even if we went for Emi Martinez at 4.5% and as a goalkeeper, again, that's somebody who could do it. There's loads of different options, but Harvey Barnes, why not for giggles? Let's talk about captaincy then.
I don't know why I laugh because I've just done it.
What? What have you just done?
I just done my captain. I don't know why it tickled me.
Okay. Who would you go for?
It's good for Jimenez.
Are you actually going for Jimenez?
No.
Who are we thinking? Spurs away at Southampton, Chelsea home to Everton, Arsenal home to Palace.
I've gone for Saka.
I love that. Yeah. Okay. Saka. Barry.
Havertz.
Probably going to captain Kane, I think, this week. I just think everyone will go for Arsenal players. I think it's a good chance to do something different, which normally means that I'll be wrong this season. So, yes. I suppose the only thing that goes against Kane is the goals conceded from Southampton recently haven't been that high. So, the home record for Arsenal against Southampton.
Also, Spurs aren't great away from home. Lost 1-0 against Wolves. Lost 4-1 against Leicester.
They 6th in the form table overall, away from home. Scored 20 goals in 13 games. But is that these are the most recent results?
Yeah, these are the most recent ones. 1-0 victory against Fulham. Yeah.
Lost against Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did lose against Sheffield United. It's just Harry Kane. Like, he's returned in...
He's doing well.
3 of his last 4. He's returned in 4 of his last 6. You know, his numbers since the World Cup: 7-2, 16-2, 5-6-8, 2-5-6, 2-13. I don't know, tricky, isn't it? So yeah, but Saka for Arsenal. I think I was going to go Arsenal. I'd probably go Martinelli.
Yeah. But I'm just at that point now where I don't care.
You're going to die on your sword. Your Saka sword.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
He's going to forget about his team. Saka's going to be captain every week.
Yeah, why not?
I like that. For Kai Havertz. Have I forgotten to do anything this week, lads? Clean me up. I think
your deadline, guys, this week is a Friday deadline. So
thank you. Yeah,
very
good.
important to get your team sorted by 6 p.m. probably, 7 p.m.
6:30. 6:30.
Yeah, there we go. on Alex's birthday, everyone.
Thank you very much. 6:30 on my birthday. Again, a joke I had to explain.
You could do my 11 if you wanted, even though we've done a 3-8. But
is your 11 any different to the 3-8?
Yeah.
Is it? Go on then. What is it? What's your differential 11? And then we'll wrap up.
I'll tell you the different players that I've got.
Okay.
So I've got Johnny, Odent,
Wolves players.
Martinez,
Okay.
Atara,
Ah,
Tony, and yeah, that's it.
I love that you put Tony in your team, but actually after we went through this podcast, he just wasn't in your team. Brilliant. Love it. 6:30 deadline Friday, guys. And thank you ever so much for joining. Do you know what we'll do? Just the last thing before we finish, just because it's a bit of jeopardy. Score predictions for tonight, because this will go out after the games are done. So I'm excited. What do you think of the M23 derby? What do you think is going to happen, Brighton Palace? Baz, score prediction.
2-0 Brighton.
Scott?
Copy paste.
3-0 Brighton then. We'll go with that. Southampton against Brentford. Scott, you go first this time.
2-1 Sutton.
Baz?
1-1.
Tony gets a yellow card, by the way, and hits the crossbar in that game.
Gets sent off.
Yeah, but
I didn't want to say it.
He's got bets on all of it, to be fair. And I actually also agree. I agree with the 1-1, but I just wanted to go for something different.
For 0-0. Because we've got Tony, haven't we, as captain? 0-0.
Exactly. Tony captain, 0-0. Right, lads, thanks for joining us this week. Thank you ever so much for everyone taking part, joining in and watching.
Is that another joke?
I don't know. I'm all
Head's gone.
How about the head's gone? Follow us on social media, please, and like the video and subscribe to the channels where you get it from. That's all for this week. Thanks so much for joining us. I love you all lots, and bye for now.